Da-na-na.
I love that. Love that bass. I love it when the bass hits.
I know, I do too. I was listening to this last night when I was playing some games with Josh, Rocket League, because I got sick of all the Spotify songs it plays. And I just asked Jeff if I could just stream his on Twitch, and he was like, yeah, I don't care. If he gets flagged, I'll just tell him it's fine. I gave you permission. It's so much better. And when this song comes on and I hear the whole thing in its entirety, it's so much...
Good.
It's so good. People should go listen to it.
So good. Well, guys, welcome to Test Normal. This is Curtis.
This is Jordan.
This is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything we want to. Oh, yeah. America. America. Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to bring at you and throw at you a little bit of America.
America.
Conflict, that is. America conflict.
The red, white, and blue.
And a little bit of crazy week going on this week.
It's been crazy. Day one, what was it? The Pope slapped a little girl or something? I don't even know any information about that. Day two, World War III was trending on Twitter, and people were like, shoot, what's day three going to bring?
Yeah. And that, I don't know what that brought, but I'll tell you what was kind of like World War III in our community lately is that In-N-Out Burger opened up recently, that hot commodity joint.
Is that because now the sewer system is being hit with an influx of beef? Or
yeah, or just like it's getting clogged with extra greasy poops.
Have you been to it yet?
No. It's been so the standard wait time when it first opened was like a minimum of 5 hours to get. So
you could drive to Grants Pass, get a burger, and come back and still have time.
Do they have a In-N-Out in Grants Pass?
Yeah.
Really?
This is what's so dumb is people are doing that. It's just take a road trip to Grants Pass. You have a lot more fun.
Well, not only did they have a 5-hour wait, but people were waiting. They were parking their car the night before in the line for the checkout.
Why?
And then they were camping there, so that way the next morning they could get their burgers.
Because why? I mean, it's not bad. That's the thing. It's like people are like, because it's so good. Like, but is it that good? Like,
well, it's the novelty of it. I imagine, right? Like
yeah, but like it's like when somebody waits for 48 hours in front of the Apple Store, they come away with a nice new iPhone and bragging rights that they had hours before everyone else. When you go to In-N-Out Burger, you can't walk around with the burger all day going, look at my nice new fancy burger. It's so much clearer, and the camera takes so much better pictures.
Right.
It's gone. I mean, it's gone.
Well, I could just tell you that, once it hits your lips, it's so good. So you're not going to hold on to that burger long.
Right. But you don't eat an iPhone.
You don't eat an iPhone. And if you do, I mean, I guess you could. You'd have to blend it up really fine, but it wouldn't be that great.
Like the Willa Blend guy with Blendtec.
Blendtec. Okay, but guys, what we wanted to hit at you and kind of just, we're doing, it's like weekly update with Curtis and Jordan, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, weekend update.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of just break down some of the shit that's been going on with Iran. Like what is happening. So what's causing this confrontation, the escalation between U.S. and Iraq, or in Iran, and very superficial, but still some information that might be, better known than not known. So,
right.
So originally, some of the main conflict, there's always been a little tension between the U.S. and Iran, and not only U.S. and Iran, but more so the major world leaders, world parties, because Iran has in the past been in the process of developing nuclear power, and they keep saying that their refineries for their ore that would be allow these plants to function could also be used for nuclear weapons.
Right.
And of course, as a country, if you have nuclear power, essentially that puts you at a higher level of bargaining and a higher level of authority within the world.
Right.
And no other country would desire for Iran to have more power, because then that mitigates some of your own personal power and leverage. So with that being said,
Haley's already still talking about the In-N-Out.
Oh yeah.
She said In-N-Out is a good lettuce wrap, but let the record show Five Guys has the best lettuce wrap around. You have to try it.
I'm a fan of Five Guys. I am.
Iran.
So Iran basically is trying to get nuclear power. That's it. So the U.S.
Well, that's what they say.
Well, no, they are. They were. Like,
Yeah.
they were... There was enough evidence that was shown in the past couple of decades that they were
Right.
trying to create that process. But it was quite a bit mitigated by a bunch of the United Nations coming together with Iran and saying, hey, we will help you with lifting all these embargoes, and we're going to help provide you resources to bolster your economy and to create better trade with our countries. If you minimize this type of
Right.
process of pushing towards nuclear power. Well, this last summer, a big tension came up between Trump.
Your gum is so bad.
That's my cough drop. Sorry,
Your
guys.
cough drop.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I treated like 200 patients in the last 4 days, and so my throat's just like brutal.
Yeah.
Actually, more than 200. Anyways, this last summer, Trump backed out of the negotiations and the previously agreed upon deal that we had made with the Obama administration with Iran. And Iran
from 2015.
From 2015. And Iran, and the reason that Trump did that is because he believed that Iran was still secretly developing these certain nuclear programs,
Right.
and was not sticking up, or was not following through with their promises. So Iran was super pissed about that. And not only did Trump say we're not going to participate in this, but that he started placing more embargoes, more restrictions on trade with Iran, and more penalties with countries that work with Iran
Right.
from the U.S.
Now, granted, they had done some odd things and were setting up, like, had been known to be, like, funneling weapons into these groups on the borders with Iraq and all that, and people that we had allied with and gone in and supposedly cleaned up and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Regardless of where you are.
Oh, we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go into that.
Yeah.
But, so, guys, I'm going to be making a lot of noises. I apologize in advance. Because I got, like, snot coming down the back of my throat. Got loogies everywhere, so it's
Do
terrible.
you guys think it's bad for you?
It's a bad cold right now.
It's a good thing I'm over here.
Jordan's getting spit on left and right. So, fast forward to this last week. Some of the crazy stuff that's been happening.
Right.
December, Friday 27th, American airstrikes. There was airstrikes that hit American contractors and wounded 4 other American individuals and 2 Iraqi servicemen on an Iraqi military base.
Right.
And this was tied to an Irani. I don't know if you say Iranian. Iranian.
Yeah.
Iranian militant group. Okay.
Right. Was this pre or post? Because there was
this was pre.
No, not this. So they shot down earlier this year a drone of ours, like a spy drone, and Trump had put in a fire order, and then called it off minutes before it landed.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that he has regretted that not showing power in that moment, and that's why, because he mentioned that in this that he was like more not showing force for things that have been done wrong.
So I have an article that people can read that I posted, and it takes into account the advisors on the Trump administration.
Right.
And those advisors strongly believe if you show force with the Iranian government,
correct,
they will back down.
Yeah. Which I've heard from people, like I had a teacher that used to say, like, the only way to get someone's attention in the Middle East is to kill his brother. Like, they don't listen to reason like we would think of it here as much. And that's just his opinion. I'm not saying that's the way it is. It's just he learned that living there, that was kind of how it was. Unless a threat was followed through with, they didn't really believe that you had authority in it.
Right.
And that's just kind of the culture.
Well, and so the 27th, American contractors got killed. Boom. The 29th, the U.S. shot American airstrikes, targeted bases in Iran, an Iran-backed militia.
Right.
Which
there was like 42 of them?
There was quite a few.
It was one for every person that died.
Yeah. Which is kind of...
42 or 52, I can't remember
impressive.
the number exactly.
But then on the 31st, an American embassy was attacked, and people probably saw that on the news. There was like videos of flags burning and part of the front office is kind of torched.
Like Molotov cocktails. People were given the order to get out.
Yeah, Molotov cocktails. So then the U.S. said, okay, well, you're now attacking United States land because they consider this sovereign U.S. land. Our embassy in any country,
and it was in Baghdad.
It was in Iraq.
It was in Iraq, not Iran, and it was done by a group that's believed to be supported by Iran
and orchestrated by Iran.
Right.
So in January 3rd, Soleimani, who was a Iranian general, okay, he was killed in an airstrike with another guy that nobody really knows.
Did you see what it looked like after the car was hit?
Yeah, it was toast.
It was nuts. So here's what I think is just nuts. We're sitting over here. He literally called in this strike from a golf course. Like they brought it to him, and they gave him the information, and he approved the strike on this guy. Halfway across the world, a remote-controlled plane, these were F-15s, dropped and a few different spots.
I thought they were shot from a ship.
No, I think it was F-15s were scrambled. Is what it said in the article. Regardless, halfway across the world, something happens, and this dude that's just been living, growing up, coming through the ranks, started out as like a foot soldier for Iran and has moved up the ranks, is at an airport in Iraq, not even his home country, and bam, he's dead.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy.
Regardless of how you feel about it, that's insane. It's an insane thing to think that's what happened.
It's insane. That's what war has turned into. It's so remote.
Yeah.
But, okay, so let's talk about Soleimani. People want to know a little bit more about this dude.
Yeah.
Like, why is he important? Why does it matter?
I just gave away some of it.
Why did the U.S. want him to die so much? So Soleimani was the head of Iran's, it's called the Quds Force, or Quds Force. And they were one of the more powerful kind of like special forces in Iran. Mm-hmm. And what they've done is they are responsible, and Soleimani himself is responsible for starting multiple kind of mini rebellions and wars throughout the Middle East.
Right.
And not all, but many of those little wars that they started were in countries and provinces where the United States tried to create a stable government. Because the Iranian government, oh my God, I'm terrible.
We're not going to get this.
The Iranian government did not want the U.S. to get a foothold in different countries and have a stable pro-U.S. government.
Right.
So throughout the
America.
years, hundreds of people have been killed and thousands of lives have been lost due to Soleimani instigating these wars and using kind of these shell militias to put the U.S. at risk in these areas. Now, what's interesting about that is not only was he responsible for those kind of militias that were set up, but he was also responsible in his Quds force for helping to...
Is it Quds or Quds?
Quds, potato.
Potato, tomato.
We're responsible for helping with defeating ISIS.
Oh.
Yeah. So...
Wait, say that again. Go back.
Yeah. Soleimani, the Iranian government, and the Quds force that Soleimani orchestrated helped to battle the ISIS forces.
That's wild.
So it's a weird situation because
he used to be an ally.
They were he was a situational ally.
Right.
But
that's wild.
All that to be said, basically nobody in the Middle East other than ISIS themselves liked ISIS. So the Syrian government, the Kurds, the Iranians,
it's like your enemy's
US,
enemy,
the Libyans,
makes
Syrians.
your enemy your friend.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, they said we got after all this time, U.S. had an opportunity. It's back and forth. But what's really interesting about this cannot be interpreted in any other way other than an act of war against the Iranian government. Because we purposefully...
And that's what they're saying.
Yeah. We purposely launched missiles against another government official.
Right.
Of another country.
Right.
That's nuts, dude.
It is.
That's nuts. So...
But was it... So the reason given was because they said that he was orchestrating some things that was supposed to go against the...
Well, it would risk American lives. Right?
Right.
So, what's been going on now? Interesting thing. What's the latest thing that's attacked or caused harm to U.S. forces since that point? Do you know what?
What?
What was the latest attack that happened in Africa? Have you heard about this?
No.
So, let me see. What was the date? When did that happen? Africa. Kenya. So, was it yesterday, I do believe? I believe in a thing called love. Yeah. So, yesterday, 3 Americans were killed when a Al-Qaeda... This is actually interesting. They're an Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab group attacked a African command center / air base, and it had American contractors in it supporting it and protecting it.
Right.
But here's the interesting thing. So, how is this linked to Iran? So, if it's Al-Qaeda group, which is not part of Iran, Al-Qaeda is based out of Afghanistan,
right,
and a little bit in Pakistan. How is Iran responsible for this? So, this is super interesting. I have a link posted to this that explains it as well. So, this Al-Qaeda group in Kenya attacked a U.S. base. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Al-Qaeda is a Sunni, I believe Sunni.
Right.
I could be getting these backwards. Al-Qaeda is a Sunni Muslim group, okay, which usually fights and battles Shiites. They don't like each other. They disagree, and since they believe their religions are more important, they kill each other, okay?
Sounds fun.
More valid. So Iran being Sunni or Shiite, and Al-Qaeda being Shiite or Sunni, the opposite. What happened is they found that there's been direct ties between Al-Qaeda and the Iranian government.
Right.
And what they're doing is Iran is allowing the the Al-Qaeda militia and money backers to put their money through Iran. And then Iran is, allies with Russia, China, other communist states. And they are basically they're basically acting like a large bank for these terrorist group of Al-Qaeda. And Iran, even though they have a different religious preference, why is it an advantage to Iran? Well, Iran can use Al-Qaeda now as a shell type of militia / terrorist group that isn't technically part of Iran.
Right.
And then B, Iran protects themselves from attacks from Al-Qaeda.
Right.
So it's a really interesting...
everyone's using everybody.
Yeah. Correlation.
And Iran knows, what's funny is, the reason I brought up the whole halfway across the world, a guy playing golf kills this big guy that's been going on for years with a push of a button, literally makes a text.
Yeah.
And the guy dies. Iran knows that they don't stand a flipping chance. If they were to go head to head with us. The problem is it's caused issues with the UN now looking into us, and a lot of other countries saying this isn't right. This is only going to cause problems.
Honestly, it probably is going to help Iran.
Right. It might help them stand out and look better to other people. I think I was talking to my wife about this, and it was things like this happened. If you go and look, there's 500 localized bombings under Obama for taking out different people. It's not that it didn't happen. It just wasn't done in such a way that was so, I don't know,
in your face.
Arrogant.
Or more stealthily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But arrogant, I mean, is because like, if you go and look, I looked it up today, and I'm gonna pull this up now. This is what, and I think this is where people kind of get mad, and I think they have a right to, because it looks bad, and that, like, this is our president on Twitter saying they attacked us and we hit back. If they attack again, which I would strongly advise them not to do, we will hit them harder than they have ever been hit before. And this other guy down below was, I can't remember who he is, but for claiming that there's no plan and that this was reckless, step one of the strategies is stop letting terrorist regime attack us. And he goes on to say, without repercussion. So this is 21 hours ago. Like, now it's like 23 hours ago because I clipped it today. This was live from his Twitter feed, like one of the last few things that he said. And then he goes on to say, an hour later, the United States just spent $2 trillion on military equipment. We're the biggest and by far the best in the world. If Iran attacks an American base or any American, we will be sending some of that brand new beautiful equipment their way and without hesitation. And then, just 6 hours ago, these media posts will serve as notification to the United States Congress that should Iran strike any U.S. person or target, the United States will quickly and fully strike back, and perhaps in a disproportionate manner. Such legal notice is not required, but is given nevertheless. So, I had a family member the other day say, like, something about Trump, and they said, I know you don't like him. And I was like, oh, no, hang on just a second, just back up. It's not that I don't like him. It's just I question anybody. I question you all the time, and I hang out with you arguably more than a lot of people. It's not that I don't like him.
Interesting.
It's just it gives this air of what's the difference between striking for, quote unquote safety, and then like saying things like that. You strike fear into your own people sometimes, because I've seen people come out and say, like, this scares me because of the way that he's being so flagrant about this.
Okay, well, here's the situation. I don't think this is abnormal for... I am quite certain there's been other presidents that have been just as aggressive and possibly even as obtuse as he is and has been. However, the difference is this is the first time we've had a social media platform that our U.S. president has also used. Right. So, for example, Reagan, maybe, honestly, I bet even Clinton. That's why
I gave the example of Obama, because I was reading these, it was saying, like there's things that people didn't want to say on both sides. One of them was something you already brought up. They don't want to, they being the conservative side, wants to say, like, well, Iran's backing out of these deals, but what they don't want to say is that Trump already backed out from the 2015 stuff. So, like, that was already gone back on anyway by us, but they don't want to say that, or they just leave it out.
Now, the other thing, obviously, guys, we wanted to just kind of throw at you the surface of some of these issues, and kind of go over some of those details. But the thing that I want to kind of clearly also show the other side is, I've thought about this several times. If I was living or grew up in Iran, and I was proud of my country, and I liked where I lived, and I knew that there was a superpower out there that was threatening me and my family if we did not agree with that superpower, and I had the fear, perhaps, that someone could launch a bomb from the sky that is constantly flying over my head and I don't even know it, and kill me, my instincts, especially from my Enneagram number 8, my instinct would be, no, I don't want to be controlled. I'm going to fight you, and I want you to die. Or I want you to go away. I want to be free from this risk and this fear.
I think that's a legitimate.
So I get, man, I and I'm not saying these governments in the Middle East are doing their people the best, or they're doing it the right way, but also, like, put the other shoe on, man. Like, that's a freaking terrifying
But I think that's a little bit different than, maybe they don't, I guess, like, you could go the other way and say, like, maybe they don't feel that way. Maybe they're like, there's a superpower that's out there that my country is threatening. Man, it sucks that I'm here.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're stuck in it too. I mean, if we were in that too, like, I love to watch, like, alternate things, and one of the, like, my favorite, like, takes on history is
drunk history.
is Man in the High Castle. Have you ever watched that on Amazon Prime?
I've decided. I don't know. Should I?
I think
Is
you
it
should.
worth it?
So here's the thing. Here's the premise, and you figured it out in the first 5 minutes.
Right. I know they were like Nazis taking
No,
over
no,
the
no.
world or something.
It's an alternate reality where Nazi Germany and Japan won World War II.
Right.
And the U.S. is taken over, and the west of the Rockies is Japan territory, and the Rockies, that whole mountain range is neutral zone, and then everywhere east of there is German-controlled United States, or German-controlled territories. They don't.
But it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch.
I really liked it. I haven't watched the most recent season, and then what happens is, and this is where kind of the twist comes in, is that it's crazy to think about like what would have happened and then how we would feel in that situation, because that's a lot of that is how these people are feeling, and it's been we have to realize this goes back thousands and thousands of years, that these people have been their people have been at war with each other or some sort of tension or whatever, and we cannot begin to understand that because we haven't even been here for that long. So
3 people.
The ending is not great for the Man in the Castle. Okay, that's good to know. But the premise is like they find these videos, and it's David Patty.
Thanks, David.
They find these videos that show the world that was free, that won the war, and it sparks this kind of like hope. And I wish it had ended better.
So how does that apply to the Middle East today?
The Middle East, I'm saying like we can't even. How would we feel in that situation? Like, I guess like we're in a free country, so it's easy for us to look over there and go, "Oh, you're threatening our freedom," but a lot of it they don't have. And so when I see a show that portrays us as not being in that freedom,
it could go either.
It makes me think. I don't honestly. I don't. I can imagine it, but I don't know how I would feel. Not let alone just myself, but with a family and children to take care of and survival. Like we can't even grasp that.
So all that to be said, guys, look into it. Don't ignore it. I think it is applicable. This is a pretty hot topic as far as...
I have a really good article that I'm going to post too, that basically at the bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, it's from the Washington Post, which I know our president calls fake news. But at the very bottom, it gives like a kind of summary of each of the parts of this, which is like what you should know. And it says this is the general, this is generally what he is. It shows like the conflict a little bit, kind of goes back a little bit, few years.
You can dig deeper into it.
And it's a pretty quick read with a little bit of like videos to kind of prompt along the way that just give you an idea. It didn't feel like a lot of like hype to me. It was just like, here's the information, do with it what you will.
But I mean, this is important stuff to think about, talk about, and that anytime somebody's just like, well, who cares? It's halfway across the world. Well, also things are becoming much more proxy and much closer to us.
Right. And this could, the ways that, people might say, well, that doesn't really affect me. Like, well, number one, that's kind of a selfish viewpoint. And number two, it very well could affect you.
Yeah.
And it very well could affect this election that's coming up as much as people. I know almost everyone I know is like, I'm just staying off social media. I can't handle elections and all that. It was like, you know what? Here's my challenge to you. Just push past all that and be a positive light in all this. If someone's being nutty about it, pull them aside and say, hey, why don't you calm down a little bit and and let's chat about this. Like maybe you don't like Trump, but that doesn't really matter right now. And we all have to get along, and we all have to live with each other. Let's chat about why you don't. And you tell me about your side, I'll tell you about my side. If that's where you find yourself, or like, hey, I'm not really on a side, so let's chat about it all. And we don't have to be all worked up about it.
Only good can come from talking in a honest manner.
Right.
Yeah, and not necessarily out of pure emotions.
I think we could, if you really want to be convinced, the whole last election was solely surprising to people because they put themselves in bubbles and didn't put themselves out there.
Yeah.
And they surrounded themselves with people that agreed with them. And that's no fun, is it?
No fun. Okay, guys.
Oftentimes, Curtis disagrees with me just because it's not fun to agree. Agree.
Yeah. I was going to we flipped that. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was getting there.
Dude, I'm going to throw some shower thoughts
Wait,
out
before that, we are... let's see, we're January 5th
January 5th.
into this.
Yeah, Jumpstart January.
Jumpstart January.
Jumpstart January.
We went a little less nutty this year, and we're just off of caffeine and substances, and not
Yeah.
like we were both like raging alcoholics or anything.
Yeah, but nothing.
Okay, so here's my
but
question
I mean,
to you.
caffeine's a drug.
Here's my question to you on it. I think last year the best quote from all of us that we all kind of, because my brother was doing it with us as well, was just like, we couldn't tell if it was the working out or the going, cold turkey off of everything that felt the worst, because they both felt terrible. Like, which one felt bad? How have you felt the last
Well, it's tough
5-ish
because
days?
I've also been like, these last 5 days I've been working a ton.
Yeah.
And so, and I've had a really bad cold too. So I felt terrible. but I think a big part of, I honestly, this is an interesting thought. I've thought about this a couple times. I kind of enjoy having the structure of forcing myself not to do something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like, it feels a little bit good, like thinking like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, wait, I can't do that. But I like that I can't do it because I don't like how much I want to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it makes total sense.
So it's good for my mind and my brain to break habits and to kind of restructure and kind of.
Have you done anything else besides those things? I mean, we talked about like.
I don't. I mean, I don't have any social media.
Okay.
So I got rid of Facebook, Instagram.
I've been kind of like lax on some of my weights and stuff, and I've done it every day.
Oh, nice.
Which has been hard.
I could not.
Except for today, but I never did Sundays.
Yeah, I didn't set any like physical exercise goals necessarily, which would have been really tough with me being sick.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's good, man. I enjoy it. It's like just a really good thing to do a challenge with friends and partners.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to do it by yourself.
True.
It's really tough to do by yourself.
Haley's been doing it too.
Right on, Haley. Okay, so I got a funny shower thought I'm going to throw out there.
Yes.
Okay, guys, we're going to hit some shower thoughts at you. This one's kind of relevant to today's topic. There must be a thriving U.S. and Israeli flag manufacturing business in Iran, since they always seem to have a bunch on hand for burning during protests.
It's true.
So,
or
that's
Amazon Prime delivery by drones. What if they were dual purpose drones?
Yeah.
They were surveillance, bombs, and Amazon Prime delivery.
Dope. Perfect.
What if I'm right on that? Okay. Here's one. No British king has ever used the internet.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I was thinking about this today or yesterday. I took Knox. Was it yesterday? One of these days I took Knox out to a restaurant real quick.
Yeah.
When
restaurant?
you order food at a restaurant,
Oh, yeah, this is good.
you always start usually your order
Haley
with a
says,
drink.
also, Australia is on fire. Yes, it is, and that's very weird.
It is.
Poor kangaroos.
But when you go to a restaurant, you always order your drink first. But when you go to a fast food joint, you always end with a drink.
It's true. Yeah. It's
I don't
you
know
know
why.
why? Here's why.
Why?
It's because the other one you planned for, I thought about this because I saw the shower thought too. The other one you planned for, and the other one you are desperately hungry and need food now.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
But it's true, and it is kind of weird. We live in a world where GTA, or Grand Theft Auto, for those of you who don't game or know what that means, is a kid's game, and Candy Crush an adult game.
That's so weird. That's so true. What a weird inverse of gaming.
Hang on, Mom. I gotta run over this prostitute.
Yeah.
Steal her money.
Oh man. Speaking of fast food, the reason it seems like everyone in public restrooms always has crazy diarrhea is probably because no one wants to shit in a public restroom unless it's an emergency.
It's true.
I despise going to poop in public restrooms.
I don't like going in places that aren't familiar.
You know what else I despise? I hate it.
Probably a lot of things.
When I have to take my son or my daughter poop in a public restroom. Because then I'm like looking at the seats and they are like just, they're not good at like not touching too much. So they're like wanting to touch all this porcelain rim,
Yes.
and they're wanting to rub their butts all over. I'm just like, oh no, don't touch that.
I think
oh,
that
no.
so two kids' stories in the bathroom because public restrooms are disgusting. Was my nephew? I think it was my nephew that my wife was with, and she can correct me if she wants. But he's like he's a really strong-willed child, and you will not tell me what to do, especially if you're not my parent. She had him in the bathroom, and she's like, no, don't put your hands on that. Don't do that. We got to wash your hands. And he just like touched the floor and everything, and he was just like, and just starts licking his hands. And she's like, no, like, oh my gosh. So second one, and this is even greater because I was there for this and I got to experience this. I took our kids to a monster truck show one year.
Nice.
And Michael, he wasn't that old, but my gosh, was he determined to see those monster trucks. And he looks at me, and it was like a little bit of a break, and he goes, Dad, I got to go poop. I was like, okay. And I was like, we got to go quick. And so we got down there to the bathroom. This is like the old Memorial Coliseum, so it's not really, it's pretty grody.
Yeah.
It's a monster truck show. So there's a lot of people shitting in public restrooms with emergency problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I sit him down, and he's small enough that I'm in the stall with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably Knox's age.
Yeah.
And I said, I hear the engine starting up. We don't want to miss anything. So he goes, okay. And he closes his eyes and just goes, and he lays down the largest piece of cable I have seen a child let go of in like 3 seconds. And he goes, okay, I'm done. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Why haven't you always been doing that?
What? And we were out of there in like 30 seconds flat.
That's amazing. That's not gross. That's amazing. That's impressive.
It was, yeah. I thought he was going to burst something. Like.
And since that point, he's always had hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Every year.
Well, getting away from the pooping subject.
Yeah.
No matter what single letter you take from the word boats, B-O-A-T-S, you will always have a word.
Oh, weird. Yep.
Take away the B, you have oats. Take away the O, you have bats. Take away the A, you have bots. Take away the T, you have bows.
You found one.
What's
Maybe
boas?
it's just boat.
No, if you take away the T, B-O-A-S, bows? Boaz? Boaz?
Boaz, I guess is a name.
Is a name?
I know. We're like breaking it down like, whoa, shoot. We didn't think about that before we read it.
I know. Okay.
A foam pit is a good place to find out how far you can throw a child.
That's so cool. I love it. Or a ball pit.
Or a pool.
Or pool. Yeah.
Unless they can't swim.
And if you're too high.
I saw a quote today that was super funny. It was like, people are so negative on Trump that if he did walk on water, they would just claim it was because he couldn't swim. I was like, that's actually probably true.
Dude, this is something that's really bugged me lately. Toothpaste.
Oh, boas. Like the scarf thing. Thanks, Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
That makes
Boas.
sense.
Boa. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
good
makes
call.
sense.
Good call, Rach.
Yeah.
Okay. This really bugged me the other day because I was doing this in my bathroom sink. Toothpaste falls so easily off your toothbrush, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, all the time. But you can't freaking ever wash it down the drain if you want to.
So true. You need like
if-
boiling water.
As soon as it falls off my brush, it instantly, without fail, like turns into super glue and adheres with a chemical molecular bond to the bottom of
Funny
my
story.
sink.
I was going to the bathroom before I came here, and I was like, my glasses were bugging me, and I needed to clean them. And so I set them on the sink, and then they fell into the sink, and I went to wash my hands, and they had fallen onto toothpaste.
Did you get new glasses?
No.
Okay.
They fell onto toothpaste and got toothpaste on the lens, and I had to wash that off before I came here.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, with hot water because it was like super glue. Okay. Before we had cordless tools, we had corded tools, and before that, we had cordless tools.
That's true. Okay, this is the last shower thought I have, and it's kind of a sad one, but it's kind of a sweet one. I don't know. I was thinking about this. This is for all you parents out there, okay? One day, our parents put us on the floor and never picked us up again.
I know. I've heard that before, and it makes me hurt.
Oh, I'm just thinking about kids. I'm just my babies. I'll always pick you up.
You should read down to mine, because I have a couple more that are actually really, really good. Hot-headed is bad, but warm-hearted is good. Cool-headed is good, but cold-hearted is bad.
Yeah, that's true. I like this one. Subtitles are tiny spoilers within the movie. I've often done that. I've thought like, oh, what can I jump ahead in this movie?
Seriously. Some people just celebrated the year that they will die in.
That's true.
Could be us.
Could be.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, Deborah Downer. Kids are definitely homemade roommates, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How about that last one there?
Yeah, that's a long one, though.
No, not that. Not that. Right below the kids.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, my God.
2050 is as far away as 1990.
Wow. Well, that's crazy.
Okay, so this last one, I actually forgot to bring last week, but a viewer of ours sent this to me, and I'm going to read it really fast because it's super funny if I read it really fast. Don't read at the bottom.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay. Did you know that barcodes scan the white part, not the black?
Love it.
Yep. Firefly is the opposite of waterfall.
Love it.
You know what's creepy about Humpty Dumpty? They never said it was an egg.
That's so true.
The letter X has more uses in math than in the English language.
Mm-hmm.
You have more ancestors than all your ancestors. Don't you dare sounds normal, but do not you dare sounds weird. Envelopes are weird. It's like, here's a paper wrapped in paper that I sealed with my saliva.
Mm-hmm.
Butter is food lotion. When you wait for a waiter, you become a waiter. Horses run around on their fingernails. Volleyball is just hardcore hot potato.
Mm-hmm.
And Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah. Love it.
So amazing.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you learned a little something about
Haley said, not just the kangaroos. People are dying. I know. I did make light of the whole Australia's on fire thing. And it's been on fire for months.
Yeah, and it comes on fire all the time. I mean, it's a bummer. It's a bummer situation, but also, like, it's just...
There's people that have, like, were long retired that have gone in and started helping out with it.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it.
It's a tough one.
It sucks.
It sucks. I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know, I mean, it's just like
it's like when all of California was on fire last year.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll pray for you. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's not like I can
Pray
have an
for
opinion.
rain?
It's not like I can have an opinion about it because it's like, well,
Yeah, it's on fire and that blows. Like,
yeah, it's a crappy situation.
yeah.
All right.
Sorry I made a light of that. I shouldn't have.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to Testing Normal. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate all your
Sorry
input.
for all of Curtis's weird sounds with his gum and his cough drops.
Weird
It's
voice.
probably better than him coughing into the mic, though.
Yes, I've barely done
So,
that at all.
That's
All
true.
right. Okay,
It's
guys,
all because of that.
It's all because of that. Guys, we love y'all. Hope you have a great week. Peace
And
out.
Welcome to
A-Train.
2020, the
Welcome to
future where
2020.
we're supposed to have flying cars and we never got them because
Dub,
we were
dub.
lied to by Back to the Future.
All right, guys. Talk
All right.
to you later. Have a good week.
See
Peace
ya.
out.